Hello and welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for March of 2023. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julia Mijas, and I'm in San Francisco, California.
Let's take a look at what's happening for you in March. Hey, Sag, let's start your horoscope with looking at our favorite asteroid goddesses, Juno and Ceres. Ceres is retrograde. This has been the case since fairly early last month, February, and here she is in your 11th house, which is a house of friends and groups, a house of networking and connecting, also a house of invention and long-term goals and plans. Ceres, however, is a very practical goddess, even though she's presently in an air sign, which is very cerebral and in a domain that can be pretty abstract. Ceres here, retrograde, wants you to right the ship when it comes to things that connect you to the physical world. If your body has gotten out of kilter and your healthy routines have fallen apart, it's time to get out there and join a group that can contextualize you and support you getting into better routines again. Same goes for food and eating. If your eating has fallen off of a cliff and it's not going well and things have gone a little bit erratic, now is the time to draw on friends, groups, or communities and set some long-term goals that can help you in that regard and support you towards doing it better in the future. And then when it comes to finances, Ceres is traveling along through Libra, and so whenever Ceres is retrograde, you find yourself facing some tangles, maybe unexpected ones, and compelled to look backwards or look inwards for the solution to those tangles so that you can untangle them and get your finances into a better shape. In particular, we're calling this one financial rebalancing period. And it's going to go on for several more months until early May. So there's plenty of time to figure out how you need to fix your finances and maybe find a community or a group or a friend who can help you with that project. The other asteroid goddess that I want to discuss is Juno. She's very relatable, very friendly, very social. She is the archetypal spouse and partner. She can also be a business partner because business is just as committed a relationship as getting married. Anybody who runs a dual proprietorship will tell you that. Juno starts the month in the 5th house. And so I hope that you've been having fun with your partner, whether it's your spouse or your business partner. Every relationship needs some time to just kick back, enjoy, partake in hobbies, take a little trip just for the fun of it, just play. And that's such an important interlude to keep any relationship bonded and just bring a natural break into the proceedings. So Juno entered into your 5th house last month. She is going to leave your 5th house, though, pretty shortly. And so if you haven't been enjoying and having fun with your partner, you better get started before she moves on into your 6th house right here around March 11th. Now, this is the house where we leave the arena of fun and we get down to work. This is a house of details. It's a house of health and health routines. It's a house of habits and systems. It's a house of work and the work environment and an attitude of service. So when Juno is here, I do think you have to watch out that your partnerships don't become a little skewed and unequal. In this house, Juno can be very service oriented And it might be that it's a perfectly reasonable thing to do to spend the next month or two while Juno is here serving and supporting your partner. And if you are in a business that is a partnership, this could be a good time for hiring if you are doing the hiring, because it's a house of service. So you can bring people on board to support you when Juno is here and add them into your network. So a couple of different uses you can put this one to. Hey, Julia, what's up with Venus, Mercury, and Mars for the Sages of the world?
Well, got some good news coming for you, Sagittarius. Venus, everybody's favorite planet because she represents pleasure and beauty and your relationship, starts off in the 5th house, which is the house of dating. So if you are single, this is a fabulous time to get out there. Venus in the 5th is also nice for your relationship too. I mean, you guys have had some issues lately because Mars has been in your 7th house for a long time, but at least you can go out and have some fun with Venus in the 5th because the 5th house is the funnest house in the zodiac. It's also a great transit for getting along well with your kids if you happen to have any of those, or doing anything creative, because Venus is artistic and the 5th house is about creation of all kinds. Now,
Boy, that was balm for the soul, isn't it, Julia? With that
such
Mars in
good.
the 7th house, my goodness.
Oh my God. Yeah. You guys need a break. You can still be annoyed at each other sometimes, but it's just good to have little breaks. Now, on March 16th, Venus enters your 6th house, and this is going to be a real boon to your health, Sagittarius. The 6th house is a house of routines. So you'll actually be getting some like pleasure and fun from taking care of yourself. So if you need to set up some healthier habits, do things to work out, even beauty routines would be great with Venus in the 6th. Now, Venus does like to indulge on diets. That's the one thing that's a little tricky with Venus in the 6th. But other than that, it's a really great time for just enjoying the routines and habits that really help and set you up in life. Now, Venus in the 6th is also great for your job. You know, it's a good time for just getting along well with people at work, sucking up to your boss if you need to do anything like that. So all around a good, you can be a little happy worker bee for the second half of the month, which is really nice. Now, Mercury's going through 3 houses this month. He's going fast now. He's only in the 3rd house for one day, the beginning of the month. And the 3rd house is a house of learning and communication, which Mercury really loves and is quite good at that. But by the 2nd, Mercury enters your 4th house. The 4th house is a house of family and home. It also represents your past. So your mind, which is ruled by Mercury, could be really preoccupied with your distant past. Maybe you're thinking about your childhood a lot, things that used to happen to you. It's also a time where you might notice you're communicating and reaching out more to family members. And you might be thinking, strategizing, planning around your domestic life in general, maybe thinking about improving or moving your home, for example. Then by March 18th, Mercury moves into your 5th house right after Venus leaves here. Mercury in the 5th just wants to have fun. Mercury is your mind. The 5th house is that fun house, like I mentioned. So, this is a great time for going out and playing some games, whether that's trivia or bowling, especially things that use your mind. You also might be communicating a lot more with your kids too. And it can be a great time for thinking a lot about dating. If you are actively dating now, maybe you're thinking about which partner, you met along the way that you like the most. Then finally, Mars is getting out of that 7th house of yours. Thank the goddess. It's been there since late fall. This has been bringing flare-ups and frustrations to your relationship because Mars did a whole retrograde cycle here. I'm sure you're going to be very happy to see it out. And then by March 25th, Mars enters your 8th. This is a house of shared resources. So the money you share with your partner, as well as money you have in investments, money you share with institutions like crypto, like your mortgage, like loans. And with Mars in the 8th house, you could be very motivated to increase your finances. Maybe you're putting some energy and drive into thinking about how you can make more through investments, for example. But it can be a frustrating cycle if you're trying to get a loan. It's kind of like this is a good time for putting some effort into it, but it's not necessarily the luckiest time for things to come through. especially since tax season is coming up. You might start getting annoyed by financial things that come up your way. And it can be a time where, with family members or anyone you share money with, there might be some frustrations and conflict around money in general. Mars in the 8th house can be a very sexual placement, and that's probably the easiest and most constructive way to use this transit.
Yes, indeed. So we have 2 moons this month and a seasonal change. The first one happens on March 7th. It's a full moon in Virgo right here in your 10th house. Full moons tend to bring strong feelings. Passions can run high. And the 10th house is the domain of career. So definitely be cautious about how much emotion you express on the job. Now, this particular moon, though, has a lot of harmony built into it. The moon does oppose the sun. That's always the case for a full moon. But the moon trines Uranus, it sextiles Pallas Athena, lots of great harmony. We're calling this Virgo moon shape and mold in your quirky way. And quirky comes straight from Uranus. So it's a good time for doing things and, putting your own unique stamp on them. And if you bring, the warmth of the moon and the nurturing quality of the moon and what I believe to be the leadership qualities of the moon. I think that the moon in the 10th house, even though moon is not so happy in the 10th house, really, it rules the opposite house, the 4th house. Moon in the 10th house can really be a leader of people by supporting people towards their own excellence. And you might find that you have plenty of passion for that. And it might come down with a little bit of criticism, but, just try to bring the emotional warmth right along with that. So then the next thing that happens is that the sun moves on into a new house on the 20th. It enters Aries, which is your 5th house right here. And the 5th house is really, really full. And wherever the sun goes, we want to bring the sunlight of our attention so that things can thrive and flourish there, because sunlight does that. It's almost like a nutritional supplement. And the 5th house, as Julia was saying, is a house of fun and pleasure and play and games and entertainment and fun, travel for fun and sex for pleasure. And it's just a great place. And when the sun goes here, it's going to spend 30 days here, as it does through any house. And it's a really good time to put some attention on the adventures that you might have that give you a break from the drudgery of the day-to-day. Very quickly after the sun arrives here, the moon joins it. The moon joins it right here in the 5th house in Aries. Signs of boldness and exploration and drive and energy, bringing so much vigor and force to this house. So we're calling this moon clear your head and begin your expedition. So much of a feeling of the newness and freshness of springtime, because this moon actually appears very, very close to the equinox. And you can't really see it here, but I can tell you that this moon happens in 0 degrees of Aries, which is literally the very first degree of the whole entire zodiac. Mercury is all up in this moon as well, even though the moon is in Aries and it's very fiery and kind of, headlong and headstrong. Mercury brings in the cerebral qualities of the head as well into this moon. So you might plan an expedition into intellectual realms, learning realms, or you might want to just, kick back, enjoy, and have fun with some kinds of, outdoorsmanship and, those kinds of more physical adventures. This particular moon does have some stress, though. I want to warn you, there is a square to Mars, and that pesky Mars has been a little more involved with both the moons this month than I would prefer. And then there's also some stress from Ceres over here, but there's a lovely sextile over to Pluto that gives this moon, not only the freshness and the innocence of Aries, but the relentless, determined quality of Pluto to back it up. To find out more about these moons, you should definitely navigate on over to our website, pandoraastrology.com, and check out the monthly forecast page where you can find out a lot more about these moons and other news of the month, and check out your other horoscope as well.
If you love Pandora Astrology's free and informative horoscopes, please do hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share our horoscopes with your friends.
Horoscopes are fun, but they're also really general. If you want to explore this month's themes more personally, we'd love to meet with you in a real live reading where you can gain powerful insights and learn what you need to make the big decisions in your career, family, or relationship. You'll find the link in the description below. Enjoy this beautiful springtime, and until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.